Hey guys, so today's post again is going to be posted to YouTube and then linked to Facebook. So if you want to comment on either place, you can. And today's subject is going to be about, let's see, let's pick a subject here. Let's talk about mental health. Now, I know this is a very controversial subject, so I'm not just disclaimer right up front. I'm not bashing on anyone. I'm not talking bad about anyone. However, I am going to say, why is it so easy for people to claim mental illness rather than responsibility? Why in this country have we made it so easy for people to, oh, my mental illness made me do it. Oh, my drugs made me do it. Oh, I wasn't competent at the time. What about accountability? I mean, I get, don't get me wrong, I get that there is such a thing as mental illness. I get that there is such a thing as, depression. I've been there and done it. However, I've decided not to do it anymore. I will tell you what I told myself. Stop that. Stop it. You know, you want to wake up every morning being sad. Why? Why? I've got sob stories too. You don't understand. I've been through this and I've done that. And, you know, s- we all have a story. We all have a story. How long are you going to allow that story to haunt your past, your present, and your future? When do you wake up in the now and go, I'm going to change it now so my past isn't my future? And so my past isn't my present. At what point do you just decide that I'm done with this? I'm done being the victim. Oh, you don't understand. I can't just snap out of it like, you did. Yeah, you could. You could. See, being depressed is a choice. It's absolutely a choice. You wake up every morning and you choose to keep remembering those things. You choose to bring the things that happened to you 5, 10, 15, 20, 45, 50 years ago into your daily presence. You choose to bring your childhood into your adulthood. Oh, well, that's what made me who I am. Let me tell you something. I've heard people say, it's a horrible thing that happened to me. Look, I grew up in the I can't even say the foster care system because I was only in two different foster homes, and for whatever their reason was, they decided to give me back. And I don't know, it wasn't discussed with me why they gave me back because I was the child. And so I went I was raised primarily in what they call a group home. They didn't By the time I was on the scene, they were no longer called orphanages. And I was raised in what they called a group home with multiple other girls. And no, it wasn't like the movie Annie. So wipe that picture right on out of your head because there was no Daddy Warbucks. We didn't have a little puppy named Sandy. And, we weren't doing sing alongs every other scene. But, it it was what it was, and I had a choice. I had a choice in my adult life. And I've heard people say, well, I can understand why he became a serial killer, and I can understand why she has clinical depression, and I can understand why he's homeless and he's a drug addict. I can't. I can't. I cannot relate to that. I cannot identify. Sorry. Um, to me, that makes absolutely no sense because you know where you came from and you wanted to stay there. You know where you came from in your childhood and you had no control over that. So in your adulthood, you wanted to keep reliving that lack of control, that lack of choice, that lack of education. You wanted to keep reliving that. And oh well, I started drinking and I took the drugs to numb the pain. Seriously? I mean seriously. So you thought you would numb the old pain with the substitute of new pain. Make that make sense. And like I said, I'm going to leave my comments open. Make that make sense. Because I was raised in a zero parent environment. I was raised in the group homes where we were raised by state funded, state hired, state paid staff. I had a primary, I didn't have a mother. I had a primary staff member who um, pretty much watched and took care of my file. And I was one of many. And I called all the other staff members by their name and I called her primary because that's what she was. She was like my leader. She was my go-to person. If I wanted something, she was the one I went to. Not mom, not dad. I wasn't raised in a fatherless home. Hell, I wasn't even raised in a home. But I hear people say, "Well, it's no wonder they're homeless." What? I spent my entire childhood being homeless. Why would I want to live that out in my adulthood? What part of the pain and anguish and insanity of a parentless, homeless, foundationless existence as a child did I want to bring into my adulthood rest of my life? None. Big fat zero. I never could understand that excuse. Well, I could see why she's angry. Why? Because I could see why they have abandonment issues. Why? I mean, I could see. Here's what I can see from the aspect of someone who's been through it. I could see why you would default to that. I could see why you would play victim to that. I could see why that's your excuse, your entitlement. I can see why that's something you would digress to because you feel like, oh, if I have a sad story, if I have a sad song, people will feel sorry for me. Nah, you're still going to end up on death row. It's just people will be sitting there going, well, I understand why it happened. It's not going to change your consequences. You're still going to end up on death row for being a serial killer, uh, um, if that's what you choose to be, or, whatever it is that you choose to do that's breaking the law. If, that's your thing. Just because somebody can see where you're coming from or they claim to see where you're coming from doesn't necessarily mean it's going to change the outcome of your consequences. And that's something people should be teaching their children. But you know, I'm not going to tell you how to raise your kids because that's a whole nother video. But sticking with the topic here on You know, why people find it so easy to claim mental illness to get out of things, and then they want to blame it on their childhood. And I had such a rough childhood. And, you know, the Bible tells us when you're a child, you act as a child, and when you're an adult, you put away childish things. And here's the thing: when I was a child, I had, I tell my husband all the time, I had really weird things I would do in the group home because I was a child. And there were times that in this group home that we would get hungry and they wouldn't feed us. And so I would wait for everybody to go to bed, and we had on the floor that I was uh, residing on at the time, we would go into the kitchen, and by we, I mean me, mostly by myself, but sometimes there would be one other person, and generally that person would distract the staff member if that staff member was woke. And so I would go into the kitchen, and they would have these big industrial size boxes of cake mix. And I'll never forget, it was vanilla cake mix. And I would grab some, throw it in a cup, take the container, the box, push it back under the shelf, and I would take the cup, put it under my shirt, and walk down the hallway like I was going to the bathroom, put some water in it, stir it up. And I thought, and my friend that was with me at the time thought that was the biggest treat. I mean, when you're hungry and then you get like a piece of candy on top of it for a kid, I mean, when they're hungry on ice cream for breakfast, you know what I'm saying? That was like us getting ice cream for breakfast. That was the equivalent of that for us at the time. You know, I was raised in two different settings of group home because when you age out of one, they put you into another. And then when you age out of that one, of course, at 18, then um, at that time, I was just kind of tossed from, I went from the children's group home to just the group home to the homeless shelter. And I was taught nothing. I was taught nothing of value along the way. And so when I had children, first off, I knew two things in life. I was going to surround myself with people that loved me, supported me, uplifted me, and gave me the things for the rest of my life that I didn't get in the beginning of my life. And I knew in my adulthood that I was going to want a good people, just good honest people that that I could love wholeheartedly, and that I could support, and that would support me. I knew that I didn't want people fawning over me. I didn't want it to be all about me. I wanted to be able to care for them as much as they cared for me, because see, I knew I had enough in me to give love as well as receive it. And so I can't say that I've never had depression. I can't say that I've never had heartache. I can't say that I've never suffered loss. I can't say that I haven't been through certain grieving processes. I can't even say I've never had addictions. I smoked cigarettes, plain regular cigarettes, nicotine filled cigarettes, um, for 30, 35 years of my life. And then my husband decided we were quitting. Well, he decided he was quitting. And because, and this is where the I have enough love to share, that's a two-way thing, came into play. It was just one of those instances. He came to me one day and he said, "Hey, I'm going to quit smoking. You don't have to, but I'm going to quit smoking. I knew I had to. I knew I had to quit smoking because I was not going, I couldn't do that to him. I knew it was going to be hard, and it was hard. It was, I'm not going to lie, it was hard. I want to say the first 3 weeks was very hard, but after that, it got better and better and better and better and better and better. And here we are today, non smokers, and don't miss it. But I want to say that when he came to me and said he was going to quit smoking, I knew I was going to have to too, because I was not going to do that to him. I'm not going to sit there. And he was like, oh, it's not going to bother me because I really want to quit. It would have bothered me. It's like today he is a full blown, God fearing, uh, just honorable head of his household Christian man. He is a wonderful blessing to me and my family. And when he fasts, I don't eat in front of him. If I'm not fasting when he's fasting, I don't eat in front of him. The boys, uh, which are grown men now, we don't eat in front of him. It's respect. It's respect in the fact that I respect you and I love you, and I'm going to support you in that by not tempting you. So, yes, I've been through temptation, I've been through addiction, I've been through depression, and you know what it comes down to? Stop that. And people go, it's not that easy. It is just that easy. Let me tell you, it is just that easy. I wake up in the morning, and if I've got a bad thought in my head, nope, not today, Satan. Oh, nobody, not today. I am going to have a beautiful, lovely, fun filled, happy day. And I'm going to remember whatever happy memory brings me to happy moments in my life. I'm going to praise the Lord, and if that's not your thing, then so be it. If praising the Lord is not your thing, it doesn't bring you a bit of happiness, then find something that does. I'm sure not every waking moment in your life is a tragedy. And if it is, I don't know what to tell you. I can honestly say I've never met anybody who's, not had some kind of something to smile about. I mean, even if it's you felt a little gas in your stomach and you walked past an old lady who farted and blamed it on her, you know, we've all got something in our life that we can smile about. And so, if you would take the time to focus on that memory, even if it's only 5 seconds long, do you know that somebody insulting you in your lifetime, that actual insult probably only took a minute to a minute and a half, but you keep replaying it, replaying it, replaying it over and over in your mind until you start believing it to the point where, in some instances, the person that insulted you or assaulted you or afflicted you or pissed you off or made you depressed or whatever, that situation is long since been over and you're still harping on it to this day. And let me tell you, before you go, well, you don't understand, you've never been there. I have been assaulted. I have been extrally assaulted. How can I say it where YouTube won't? I have been through assaultment. Yes. I have been touched in ways that I shouldn't have been touched as a child. Um, I have been through abuse. Sure, got to play those words off, but you know what I mean. So, I don't trigger any flags on YouTube. But anyway, I've been through some things in my life, and you know what? Um, it's just a choice. Those things happened, but they're not still happening. Those things happened, and they're over with. Those things happened, and I am a survivor, not a victim, because it is my choice. And, oh, well, you're just a strong person. You're a strong person too. It takes every fiber of your being to be a victim. and you could use those same fibers to be a victor instead of a victim. It's just a choice. It's a matter of choice, and I get that some people do actually need medications because the issues they have are actually physical, and there are such things as chemical imbalances and things of that nature. And I'm not telling anybody by any means to go rip yourself off your medication. I'm not a doctor. I'm just telling you what's possible because I've been there and done that. I'm telling you it's possible to overcome the victimhood mentality. I'm telling you it's possible to overcome addiction. I'm telling you it's possible to be a better person. You don't have to spend the rest of your life being an asshole. It's okay to not be. It's okay to not have to defend yourself in every situation. And it's definitely okay to not blame the issues you claim for what you've done. At some point, you have to take accountability, and we can all go, well, it was the way I was raised, or it was the lack thereof. I could have been that person on America's Most Wanted. I could have been that person on death row. I could have been that person that kidnapped somebody's kid, fill in the blanks, and ran off and did these things, but I also wasn't because it was a choice. Every morning that I wake up as an adult the same way as when I was a kid, it was a choice to do what I did. And the things that I did or did not do, I take full on accountability for the things I did as an adult. And let me tell you, there's no such magic number as now you're an adult. You don't go to bed at 17 years old and wake up the next morning at 18 and magically you're an adult. Trust me having my own kids, I have come to realize this. It just doesn't happen that way. You would like to think when you are that child that it happens that way, but it doesn't. Even I knew when when I was 18, the day I turned 18, I knew I was not ready for the world. And you know what? I wasn't ready for the world because, again, I didn't have a mother and a father to teach me these things. What I had was a staff member that we referred to as primary. We weren't even allowed to mimic the word mom. They reminded us every day in these group homes that we did not have parents. They reminded us every day that this is not a normal situation, that this is an abnormal situation. We called them primary. None of my friends referred to the female adult in their life as primary. They referred to them as mother. And I had a lot of friends that came from single parent homes, but at least they were in a home. I lived again in a group home that looked like pretty much looked like a college dorm. Like we had two bunk beds. We had the one that I was in when I was a small child had one, two, three, four, five, six, seven, eight, had 8 rooms in it. And I'm seeing it in my mind. I'm counting the rooms down the hallway. But it had 8 rooms, and in each room it had 3 beds, some had 4. And at any given time, we had up to, I want to say, 15 kids on the unit, is what they called it. I mean, they did everything in their power to let you know this isn't a home. You didn't call anybody mom, you didn't call it home, it was the unit. And when I moved, When I got older and I transferred to the next group home, um, then it was a 3 bedroom facility that had 2 bunk beds in each room. And so that was a 3 bedroom facility that had 4 girls per room, 4 children in each room. So, there was no, and again, you called the adults either by their name, um, you called them Miss, and now I only there was the first group home I was in when I was a small child had no male workers. There were no male workers on our unit. Then the second one that I was on had one male worker, and he was like the head boss, and we called him Mister. And then the rest of the staff we called either primary again or Miss, and we called that place the unit or the floor. It was either the floor or the unit, and never in any given situation were you meant to feel at home. You know, and then being raised like that, where you shared a room with 3 other people, your things were subject to get stolen. Um, it was constant criticism. It was constant never having privacy, never having your own space. It was just a constant reminder of I don't want this situation for the rest of my life. And so, why someone would bring that into their adulthood, I don't, those choices, that pain, again, I don't understand the whole let me replace a new everlasting pain that I have control over. Um, Let me use that to replace the pain of starting out in life that I had no control over. It's like, nah. At some point in life, you get tired of having pain. And that's when you do something about it. And I mean, even I guess therapy is great, and getting mood stabilizing pills. uh, You know what I'm saying? I don't want, again, YouTube flagging me or whatever. But it's like when you get prescriptions from your doctor, how long do you plan on taking those? Again, I'm not telling anybody to go rip themselves off of it, but I do want you to know that you have the power, not the drugs, not the doctor, not the psychiatrist, not the, you're the one who makes the choice. And I'm not saying don't seek help, but if you're going to the right person, they are leading you on the path of stop that. They are leading you on the path of you don't have to do this anymore. They are leading you on the path of making yourself happy, making yourself not a victim, making yourself a victor, making yourself healthy. They are leading you in a way that you would be independent enough to take care of you and to make healthier choices for you. Now, again, I understand addiction. I don't maybe understand crack, or I might not understand, you know, drinking, and I might not understand all these other things, but I do understand addiction. I mean, I used to weigh close to 300 pounds and I don't anymore. Um, I used to smoke cigarettes, nicotine cigarettes. Actually, my favorite brand was Marlboro Reds, but every now and then I would hit a Winston or a Basic, or I would roll up the handmade cigarettes. But I'm saying all that, guys, to say that Um, I don't get the whole why people hang on to it. Is it a form of Munchausen? Is that the way you get your attention? Do you not get enough attention at home? And if you don't get enough attention at home, why don't you? Yeah, because like I said back in the beginning of this video, I chose to surround myself with people that would not only love me, but would allow me to love them. So if you're not getting enough attention at home, or you're not getting enough give and take at home, then you have to, again, it comes down to you. It comes down to you, your choices, and it's all about you, you, and you. And that's what you wanted in the first place, was you wanted it to be about you. And really and truly, it can be about you in a positive way. It can be about you getting what you want in life, and having the things you want in life, and doing what you want in life, and without having the pain of it. You know, the Bible tells us that we will have success and no sorrow be added to that. And that's all I'm saying. Again, you don't have to be a Bible thumping believer. I'm okay with that. I mean, I am. I'm a Bible thumping believer. I actually have my own Bible study group on Facebook, but that's a whole nother story. I'm just saying that when you have the right kind of peace, love, and joy, it addeth no sorrow. Real peace, love, and joy, real understanding, real forgiveness addeth no sorrow. So if you are adding sorrow, or if your situation is adding sorrow to your life, there is no peace, there is no love, there is no joy. You know, I can't tell you to get out of that situation, but what I will tell you is definitely to rethink it. Because if the only thing that makes you happy, or the only thing you're focused on is life in life, is your mental, physical, or medical issues, then, and that's all you've got to cling on to in life, and that's all you find yourself 98%. If you find yourself talking about mental, physical, or I don't know, if you just find yourself talking about mental, physical, and just, what is it? Mental, physical, and spiritual, maybe? No, I don't want to say spiritual. But anyway, if you find yourself talking about your mental and physical health and blaming those things 60% of the time, if that's what you're talking about over everything else, is, oh, my aching butt, or oh, my mental sadness, I'm just going to say 60% of the time, that's entirely too much. And you need to start rethinking what's coming out of your lips. Because I tell you what, the more you put positivity on these, the more you put positivity on those, the happier and just better you will feel. The happier, the better, the more loved, the more successful, until you're speaking 60 to 80% of peace, love, and joy over mental and physical illness, and ailments, and all that other stuff. You know, the Bible tells us to speak those things that are not as though they were, until they are. So, even if you're not feeling good, if you speak about how you are on your way to feeling better, let me tell you, and I'm not going to harp on this because, again, I don't, but I've been dealing with back issues for probably about the last 3 days now. And when somebody asks me, how's your back doing? I'm getting better. That's my response. I'm getting better. Because they can tell by the way I'm walking, or the way I'm sitting, or the way I'm shifting in my chair, that I'm uncomfortable. And I might be for a minute, but I'm not going to be like this too long. So my husband gave me a back rub last night and asked me this morning, how you doing? Doing a lot better. I'm not going to sit around and talk about this hurts, that hurts, oh my goodness, oh my gosh. I don't have time to focus on those things because I have a Bible study group to run, I have a house to run, I have a family that I need to uplift as much as they uplift me. And I have other things to focus on because that's what I choose to focus on because, again, that's what I surround myself with. And you could too. So, again, using mental health and mental issues and physical issues as a reason to have people falling all over you is might be the lazy way of getting the attention you seek, but it'll never be fulfilling. So I'm going to end this video with saying that you don't have to be a Bible thumper to read the Bible. I mean, you're not, uh, um, let's see, you're not a wizard or a witch, but I bet you watched Harry Potter. You know what I'm saying? So you don't have to be a Christian to read the Bible. You don't have to be a witch or a wizard to watch Harry Potter. You don't have to be a homeless, um, unloved orphan to watch Annie. You don't. So pick up a Bible. You'd be surprised at the thrill, the excitement, the mystery. You'd be surprised at what's going on in there that would catch your attention. And you'd be surprised at how fast you can learn something. And I'm not trying to change you. If you change your mindset from reading the Bible, great. If you don't, okay. I mean, I read, well, I didn't read it. My husband read Harry Potter and I watched the movie. And it didn't change my mindset, but I enjoyed watching it. So if you don't want to read the Bible, find some movies. There are movies out there. There's the movie of Mark, there's the movie of Matthew, there's The Passion. So there are different movies out there that you can watch that give you the basic gist. However, reading the Bible would give you more, but that's up to you. That's you or your choice. Again, I'm not here to harp on that one either way. I believe what I believe, and you believe what you believe, and I'm just here to tell you that you don't have to keep mental illness, you don't have to keep sadness, you don't have to keep depression. And these things, again, in my world, I feel like it does have a little bit to do with your religion and your path in life. But even if you're not saved, even if you don't feel like you need to become a Christian, you can still become a happier, healthier, loved, supported human being by the people you choose to have around you. And with that, I hope you have a happy Sunday and go forth and find your joy.